Girls of Reddit, what makes a guy creepy? Story 1. No self-awareness or notion of personal boundaries, like when guys follow you around public places or follow you home intentionally, and don't seem to understand what's really unsettling about that. I don't know if it's because I live in a big city, but this is surprisingly common. Story 2. Constant, uninterrupted staring, or when they get way too close to you when talking and kinda hover over top of you. Edit: I do not mean accidental eye contact. Eye contact when speaking or passive looking when you're daydreaming and don't actually perceive anything. I mean direct staring. Story 3. Telling me personal things about myself. I had a guy at my old job mention that I took a different route to work one morning. Then he said a mix of letters and numbers. When I asked what that meant, he said, "That's your license plate, right?" Another time he was standing behind me at the time clock and said my clock and code before I entered it. Also he cornered me in a room and tried to kiss me. It was so awkward because his wife was my supervisor, and I was his superior. I was the nurse and he was the CNA. On top of that, I was a new nurse and not at all comfortable in my role yet. I ended up telling my coworkers to keep us apart and make sure he didn't follow me into rooms after that last part. Very creepy. Story 4. Guy go out with me, nah, no thanks. I'm married guy, so, by far one of my least favorite interactions. Also staring, uninterrupted staring. It's worse if they don't even come talk to you. Makes me scared they're just going to follow me. Edit: yes, I know some people zone out and stare unintentionally. For me, it's pretty easy to tell the difference, and I move around some to see if their eyes are following. If they are, they're staring. If not, they're zoning. Story 5. When a guy won't give you your space even when you implicitly or explicitly make it clear that you want your space, without giving too many details. When I was younger, this sweet guy became creepy to me because he wouldn't leave me alone even when I said I wanted time to myself. If they can't respect your boundaries, get out and fast. Edit: for context. This happened when we were kids, but it still applies. I told the guy outright to leave me alone. At first saying I want to be alone for now. Eventually, I told him to just leave me alone outright, and it took more dodging on my part for him to get the message. I get he was a lonely kid, but this made him go from sweet but lonely kid to kid I was trying to avoid. Story 6. When they consistently ask you out after about 3 times, it gets excessive and creepy. Plus, if they try to contact you through more than 2 platforms, then it's creepy as well. Story 7. When you can tell they don't look at you like a person but like a conquest. I have this guy at work who's a little weird, but every time he talks to me, it's like his preconceptions of who I am and what I think are all he sees. It's annoying. Story 8. When much older men think that all the young women want to have with them. I've worked with a few men like this, and it really creeps me out, especially when they look at a young woman and lick their lips. Story 9. Saying things like women like this and women don't like this as if we're a hive mind, and you happen to know women's experiences better than them. I automatically assume you'll get angry at me and start yelling or creeping if I breathe wrong, and cause a ruckus in public if I tell you to leave me alone. Listen, I won't pretend to know the pros and cons of being a lad. If you don't pretend to know the pros and cons of being a lass, it's complex, it varies per person, and if you have trouble getting in with the entirety of a group of people of the same, it's totally on you. Story 10. When a guy is pushy, flirting, whatever, but it bugs me when I'm having a good conversation and the guy suddenly is trying to meet up or is trying to get nudes, like fuck off. Story 11. If you don't know them, staring at you for too long, trying to hold your hand, insisting on showing you something or taking you somewhere, big red flag, laying their hands on you like, not accidentally on your belly backlows to private parts. Still flirting or trying at least after you've rejected them, declined, told them you have a boyfriend, bonus point if they keep trying, if you are a lesbian, and just told them that you literally have a girlfriend. Edit: change touching you to laying their hands on you, because some people don't understand the line between a pat tap on the shoulder and like touching you in a creepy way when you don't know them. Story 12. Developing feelings too quickly. I understand what it's like to be a person who falls hard for people, but there's a line, like when you're talking to someone on a dating website, you've only exchanged 3 messages and the guy says he loves you. That are guys who try to give you shoulder rubs. No, random man, I don't want you to touch me. Story 13. Saying hey cutie, and then giving all sorts of insults from to prude when I say I'm not interested. Especially when they don't realize that I, a very white girl, am not fluent in Spanish, but I know enough to know when they're calling me a skinny in Spanish. I live in southern Texas. Story 14. It's a multitude of aspects, and a lot of people have touched on some of the points. Another point is the nice guy expectations. There's a fine line between caring for your friends and creepily trying to take care of a girl. The difference is often in the intent. If you are nice to someone for any reason other than like common decency and basic care that you would give to any other person, it's creepy, awkward, and heavy with ultimatum. Story 15. The creepy lines. I will mention I rode horses I've heard in response, but you rode those horses real good while licking their lips and winking, a mix of what they say and demeanor. Story 16. Not knowing your audience. Whether something is appropriate or not depends a lot on where you are and who you're with. Something that would be totally appropriate with your buddies can be inappropriate in a mixed social situation. For example, my brother-in-law shared a story about a woman who used her own vaginal yeast to brew beer. Would have been an interesting story for some friends at the bar, however, it was super creepy at the annual family reunion. Not being able to tell what isn't appropriate is creepy. Story 17. Leaving notes on the windshield of your car. I've had at least a handful of guys do this, and let me tell you, it is not cute, it is not endearing, it is not awe, it is, however, you've creeped me enough to know what my car looks like, where my house is, where I work, and where I do my grocery shopping. Story 18 when they just stand like real eye close to me when I'm just trying to talk, or asking a lot of questions about my personal life when I hardly know them, also watching me walk by then whispering to their buddies all around them. That really freaks me out. Story 19 when they say smile dude, I'm not here to make you feel good about yourself, I don't even know you, and no one ever in the history of ever smiled when someone they don't know tells them to. Story 20 comments about my race, I'm Indian and the amount of times that a guy has called me exotic is disgusting, like stop if you're going to compliment me, at least don't make it about my race or something, it would make my day if same guy said hey nice jacket, or I think you look nice today. Also, when I come to complain to you how some other guy is making me feel uncomfortable, don't invalidate my fears or use the maybe he's just socially awkward excuse, I'm coming to you because I'm a bit afraid creeped out and want the support of my friends. Story 21 flicking my and doing it in front of my husband. Did not end well, Edit got a lot of requests for the story, I can't go into a ton of detail because it became an HR and legal issue nightmare, but I'll give you an overview. My husband and I were at a going away party at a restaurant for a friend at work, and one of my other work friends was there. At the end of the night, when we walked by and said goodbye to him, he quite literally flicked I was in complete shock. I can only say that due to this guy's action and my husband's reaction, my husband is no longer allowed at my work. The guy went on unpaid leave for a couple weeks. Not long after that, he got a promotion, while I had been fighting for a year to get a small raise after doubling my workload. Remember, kiddos, life is definitely fair. Story 22 one night I was walking home at night in a shady part of our city and some drunk guy was walking behind me talking loudly and sometimes directly to me. I stopped to let him walk in front of me. He said you don't need to be scared, that just freaked me out more. He continued walking, but come on, as if telling some stranger not to be scared doesn't ring all the alarm bells. Story 23 acting like you're a different person if you have a push-up bra or makeup on. Double if they only notice you or treat you nicely that way. Holy I rarely post and this got way more comments than I'm used to. To clarify what I mean and what guys I'm taking about the creepy guys in this case are usually a casual acquaintance who may be dating married or only known in a professional way, or have clearly stated they're not into you and just a friend. Obviously, if I'm talking about a dude I'm flirting with and they amp it up because I'm dressing up for them this is different. I'm also not talking about when I go out and admire strangers approach. I know I'm going to get more attention dressed up in general than when I'm not. I am specifically referring to men who have seen me before and after and will only interact in a positive way if I'm conventionally attracted and otherwise won't acknowledge my existence. These guys should not change given the nature of the relationship because it's not romantic or physical in nature. Examples of what I meant: the guys often boyfriends, friends or coworkers saying you look sickly without makeup, making a huge deal if you wear makeup or anything more overtly feminine when it's not their place, i.e., a coworker fixating on your outfit and not just a casual compliment. Literally assuming you're lesbian after you cut your hair and not speaking to you till it's an acceptable length. Literally not recognizing you because of a push-up bra. Literally not recognizing you due to makeup, trying to touch you more because of these changes, pats on the arm, side hugs you wouldn't normally get. Treating you in an entirely different way, all of a sudden discussing their sexuality, life, relationships and making lots of crude jokes. This goes in regards to co-workers specifically. I know my friends may need or have reason to chat about these things. Another example: a cool casual friend one day, to a love interest the next due to these things, then reverting back to casual friend in the span of an outfit change. These are all real examples, a huge chunk which have happened in my place of work or with people who have explicitly said they are not into me. Also, I typically dress pretty modestly at work given my career field. It's not an appropriate place for fixation on my outfits or to make more than a passing compliment given I work in front of teenagers. I may dress up for my partner or for me, the whole world shouldn't change just because of that. I'm okay with a few extra head turns or getting more compliments. I'm not okay with fixation and you switching your entire personality. It makes me feel like a piece of meat. If you didn't have the time of day for me before, and after now find me fascinating, I know it's not my thoughts you give two shits about. This also goes along the line with being a woman's friend while she's single then ghosting the second she's in a relationship. It's like once I'm not easily fuckable to you I mean nothing. It goes back to the root of creepiness. Not treating women like people. Thank you for coming to my 530 a.m. TED Talk while I'm on NyQuil. Saying random innuendos with when I don't know you, why do you think I want to hear that? Story 24 I'll put it this way. There is no such thing as the friend zone. There is only the you want take no for an answer, and I'm too scared you will verbally or physically attack me if I am any more blunt about it zone. Story 25 repeatedly calling us beautiful and comparing us to other women we know. Sure, it's cute if you're already in a relationship, but when you're not, it's actually really creepy, especially if it's multiple times in one day. Edit: since this has blown up more than I thought it would, I'll provide some backstory. This is based off of something that actually happened to me. The guy is what most people would consider attractive. Tan skin, dark hair, started out really nice, went to the gym a lot, but he wouldn't stop saying how beautiful I was and compared me to my coworkers, kept trying to buy me gifts. It made me extremely uncomfortable and I felt creeped out. Story 26 putting their hand on your lower back or side as they move around you or to let you know they are there. I don't even care when a coworker occasionally touches my butt or at work when it's clearly an accident because we all work in close proximity. Doing it on purpose, however, to only the young girls, instead of using your voice or a touch to the shoulder to alert of your presence is intrusive, unnecessary, and alarming. Story 27. I think guys forget that women have a genuine concern about assault or even being murdered by men. So with that in the back of our minds, when meeting someone new, a lot of things can unintentionally come off as creepy. Story 28. Touching us without our consent. Not necessarily, just at all. Don't pick lint off my sweater, don't pat my arm, do not put your hand on my lower back to get by me for sake. If you wouldn't do it to your male co-worker neighbor acquaintance, then don't do it to us. Story 29. Using any excuse to touch me, like sliding his hand across my lower back when walking past or trying to get by me, staring of course, especially in the gym, suddenly asking personal questions like do you have a boyfriend, do you live alone, like dude I don't know you. Story 30. Not respecting boundaries, not listening and not treating you like an equal human being are my top 3 red flags. Respecting boundaries means they don't invade your personal space, common rules of society are followed, and they don't keep pushing to touch, interact, initiate conversation or relationship. If you are hovering around me, trying to distance me from safety or my friends, keep staring at me, following me after I say no, etc., you are a creep to me. I sense danger and am uncomfortable with this. Stop touching me, no hugging, get away. Listening is a crucial skill in general but tells me whether or not I want to be near you or if you respect me. Not listening or treating my opinions as valid means you are probably not someone who understands no and may try to manipulate or hurt me. I am not a piece of meat, a potential lay or someone's property. Respect me as your equal and human. The scariest creeps don't seem to see you as human. You're their object, something to chase. A fourth that isn't always the case is a lack of social awareness or being oblivious of social rules, as it can lead to uncomfortable misunderstandings or much worse when combined with the other 3. Story 31. Once had a co-op student I was a senior engineer corner me in our tiny coffee room to tell me he didn't understand why I changed my hair. He liked it better blonde. I'm 52, it's 800 in the morning, and I'm cornered by a kid who has never spoken a word to me before but is 62 easily and I can't get around him. Also had another co-op student breath on the back of my neck while I was doing some material testing as a way of getting my attention, or he said he would help me if I helped him. He was my coop student. He literally got paid to help me. This kid I finally threatened to report to his school, and said I would trash his professionalism grade if he tried that again. It didn't help until I made it clear to all my coops that allowing him to act that way would affect their professionalism grades too. Then he behaved. Even though I was the senior person in both circumstances, their lack of respect for space, and their clear flirting was so out of place. Given their size, it could be really intimidating, especially since I often got in early or worked late, and that is when these kids would choose to be creepy. Story 32. Trying to chat me up about 50 Shades of Grey because I'm a woman, so I obviously love it. I've never read it or Twilight and don't intend to. It's not my cup of tea. So you're not only assuming I have to like something because of my gender and straight up accusing me of lying and being coy when I say I don't, but the thing you're insisting I like is pretty fetishy, even if only in a softcore way. Oh, and this entire conversation takes place at my desk at work. Story 33. When I show disinterest in the interaction and he continues to be pushy, for example, a guy can come up to me in public and tell me that he thinks I'm beautiful and it's not creepy. But if I then say thank you and put my earbuds in or go back to my phone and he keeps persisting, it quickly becomes creepy. I think that men really just need to listen to women's cues more. Her body language responses will tell you if she wants you to keep talking to her. Story 34. I am 411 and 80 pounds and 23. The other day I was hanging out with a friend and he said to me, when I first saw you I asked someone if it was okay that a child was here, then when I found out you were 23, I thought I would like to get to know you, yeah. Story 35. Mean for no reason weigh the two into violent things. For the sake of violence, like, you can own a snake and feed it live mice because you have to because it won't accept thawed frozen mice. Or you can take maniacal glee in live animals suffering zero concept of bathing hygiene, you nasty. Get out of here. City pigeons find puddles to groom in and you can't even wash your butt, bafflingly hypersexual, with no ability to interact on a human-to-human basis. The dead shark eyes. They're either some muddy shade of black or ice blue, but they're flat and they don't blink and they have a 1,000-yard stare. Story 36. Ignoring consent, ignoring social cues, choosing what you want over what someone else wants or finds comfortable, a lack of self-awareness, forcefulness, aggressive inconsideration. Story 37. Not taking no for an answer, not respecting boundaries, treating humans as anything other than human. The goddess thing can be totally creepy. Story 38. Immediately talking about and wanting. It's okay to be attracted to someone and think about with that person, but you need to dial back on expressing that you feel that way right out the gate. Story 39. When guys tell you a long list of what they are looking for in a partner, yet possess none of these qualities themselves, or have anything to offer in return. Okay dude, good luck with that. Story 40. I was talking to this guy on OkCupid. We went on one date, but what gave me the creeps was that at least 4 times in the 2 weeks we were chatting online before the date, he kept saying he liked my hair straightened, all because of one photo I had of me with straight hair. I was so not straightening my hair for the date. The date ends and he asked if there will be a second one. I was too polite to straight up say no. I said we will see and we both left separately. After that he messaged multiple times a day asking the same questions and asking why I wasn't talking. I disabled my account for a month or so. But when I came back had asked why I disabled my account, and kept messaging me multiple times a day. I eventually blocked him. He sounded way too controlling. I definitely dodged a bullet. Story 41. Not following social etiquette in really bad ways. The other day I was working out at the gym and was doing exercises that required me to squat and bend over when I noticed this older foreign man staring at me. I looked at him then looked away. Every time I had to look in his direction he was just there watching me. Eventually I got annoyed and asked him if I could help him with anything. He said no and just kept staring. I could physically feel him watching me and it made me so uncomfortable I just stopped my exercise and went home. It felt so gross and slimy. Story 42. Not responding to cues. If someone is chatty at the bar, you'll face them and smile, ask questions, give longish answers, etc. If I want to carry on or don't mind it, you'll face away or give short answers and few questions if I'm not interested. If you keep on after I've tried passively to not engage, I may get direct and try to get away. Don't follow. Also, physical space or super personal questions comments are icky. Story 43. When he stalks you for 2 weeks and tells you he's looking for a female host to show him around. Oof. Based off of a true story when I was like 15. Yikes. Story 44. Another one offering to do favors help out. Then being when I start dating someone else, I didn't know he was only helping me out to get in my pants. He never even asked me out or gave an indication that he liked me. Honestly, I probably would have gone on a date with a guy if head asked. But after that behavior, zero interest. Story 45. Guys who apologize by saying something to make you feel sorry for them. For example, fuck I hate myself, I'm so stupid, I can't believe I did that, please don't stop talking to me, I'm literally shaking, I'm such a dumb stupid waste of space, I should die, etc. etc. Story 46. If a guy needs to get into the conversation as quick as possible he is desperate and horny and very likely to come across as a creep. Not just casual pickups but also first date stuff. Some guys try to slide it into the conversation as if it's no big deal. It will come in either as a joke that just won't go away and was obviously rehearsed for hours in a lonely bedroom or as a fake confidence thing as if they're so chilled about the whole thing. No, it is not the most natural thing in the world to list out personal kinks or something just for conversation's sake, pressuring me to respond in kind or else I'm some kind of frigid. It just comes across as really desperate and sleazy. Story 47. Gay person here. When a guy says I can change your mind though, instant turnoff. Nobody, you can't change my mind. If you feel the need to try and persuade me to change my sexuality for you, yours probably small anyway. Story 48. Okay, as a bi-romantic guy, Eve dealt with creepy guys. Here are a few observations. 1. Please don't keep showing up to my work just to talk to me. In being paid to do a job, not to socialize. 2. Don't try finding me on social media if you do have a crush on me. That's just as creepy. 3. Don't try finding out where I live. 4. Don't try touching me without my permission. I'm on the spectrum, and I have to really trust someone before I'll let them touch me. It's your fault if I start screaming. 5. When you barely know me but you ask super personal questions. Story 49. I just posted an ad on Craigslist looking for a roommate. I'm more than happy to post some of the 89 replies I've received from men who think the for rent section of CL is a branch of seeking arrangement. It's been a wild 24 hours. Also I'm scared. Ladies, please find another way to find roommates. This has been a trip. Story 50. Constant staring and trying to talk to me when I repeatedly state that I'm busy or just don't want to talk. And sometimes, I just get a vibe from the dude that screams creepy, regardless of looks and such. Story 51. Constant staring, smells bad, won't leave you alone when asked, constantly asking personal questions, etc. Also creepy when they try to make a lot of physical contact. Story 52. Coworker go out with me, I'm only 16, him, I'm only 26. Age is just a number and that wasn't a no. Our other coworker in jail is just a room. Sean also don't lie, YOURE 37, happened years ago, but I basically quit BC, he became a manager, even though every woman on the staff asked to never work with him. Lying about little things is very creepy. You told me your next class is in a different location so you can walk with me. Don't do that, just say you want to walk with me. So is touching, like don't just reach out and start playing with my hair if we're standing 3 feet apart and I'm asking you about our assignment. It's weird, really weird. Story 53. Telling us to smile. I went out with my cousin, her boyfriend and his friend. His friend literally spent the whole night telling me to smile. It made me so uncomfortable. Want a girl to smile? Tell her a joke or you're the joke later on. Story 54. Step 1. Be attractive. Step 2. Don't be unattractive. Edit. It's a joke, chill. Story 55. Many of the behaviors described here are creepy when the guy is unattractive. I read a lot about pretty privilege and observed my female friends, and things like staring go from ugh, that's gross, stay close to me so he doesn't try to kill me, to whoa, this handsome man keeps looking at me, do you think he likes me? Double standards at its finest. Story 56. I have a list. 1. When he finds a way to casually bring up into any conversation. 2. When he doesn't give you your personal space, even after you request he does. 3. When he propositions you. 4. Then promptly insults, threatens you when you reject him. 4. When he is controlling you, even if you're just friends. 5. When he touches you without permission and is insistent that you like it or he wants stop when asked. That's all I can think of right now, and I assume this applies to both men and women. Why can't we all just be decent human beings? Story 57. A guy, his actions are only creepy if you're not interested in him. If a guy you're interested in does the exact same stuff, it's not creepy, so it's all subjective. Story 58. Pics. No, there is never a time that a girl wants to see it, even if you're in a relationship. Put that ugly thing away. Reading these is just terrible as a guy. I'm sure I've made one woman scared at some point just by accident, or genuinely asking her out ECT, but this stuff that women have to go through just sucks. Sorry ladies, I understand why you might just blow us off when we ask you out sometimes. It makes a lot more sense now. Story 59. When he stands really awkwardly and asks personal or very specific questions, especially when he's super interested and doesn't break eye contact and has a permanent half smile, hands in pockets 100 of the time is weird. On the flip side, guys who are overly confident in themselves and have no sense of boundaries are also creepy. When they invade your space, example girl sitting, guy comes over, places his leg on the bench chair next to her, and says so, short pause while he breathes through his mouth, licks his lips, whatcha. Story 60. Not taking no for an answer. Being overly solicitous. You hold the door open for me. Thanks. You try to carry my bag to my car for me. No thanks. Acting overly familiar. Story 61. A guy constantly mentioning weird or parts of your body. Compliments like you have pretty eye sharik are totally fine, but when it gets into nice bodyek, it just gets super uncomfortable. Story 62. Making comments about how I am going to be your girlfriend in the future. Dropped that guy like a hot potato, which sucked because he was cool and I would have liked him as my friend but not as a boyfriend. I can't abide by that, my dude. Story 63. Pretty much if you can't take social cues about my disinterest and something about you remotely suggests danger, could be anything from a big build, the way you're blocking all my exits, the way you stand too close to non-physicals like a psycho stare, or females, creepy. Story 64. The staring at you in public. Like if you think a woman is pretty, do something other than staring, and rape, don't rape people regardless of gender. Story 65. After reading all of these, I realize I'm a pretty big offender here and not intentionally. I'm socially awkward and come off as creepy by default to me anyways. I'm super shy, terrible at making conversation, and if someone introduces themselves to me first, I end up being the uncomfortable one. If I find someone I crush on, I normally end up staring for a bit, trying to work up my nerves to introduce myself. I end up going through hundreds of scenarios. Staring gets prolonged, avoid eye contact, and then just lose all opportunity to do anything else. How do I fix? Story 66. This will probably sound weird, but being overly excessively polite and helpful and making a big deal about it. Had a semi-stalker start out like that at a former workplace, bowing me through doorways, jumping over to grab the door I already had open, literally jumping out of the way if I came remotely near him, and apologizing even when he wasn't actually in the way, always trying to help even when I definitely didn't need or want it. He was really formal sounding too, and a lot of people were confused as to why I was uncomfortable around him. Then they noticed his behavior after I pointed it out, and that he followed me around, stared, etc. The creep focused on another girl later too. Once I'd gotten a new job, now I'm suspicious of anyone who acts similar. Story 67. When they constantly bring up the fact that you're a girl, like, dude, you don't have to comment on the fact that I have female body parts. I joke a lot about how do you know I'm a girl though, or did you just assume my gender? And a certain guy I know was like, well, you have breast and a nice. That's creepy as, and you should never say that to a girl. Story 68. Alternatively, guys of Reddit, what makes a gal creepy? Edit. I don't know why I'm being downvoted. I'm seriously genuinely curious. Plus I'm just a little weirded out by the double standards and mild in this thread. When the genders are reversed, suddenly somehow it's different to you guys. When guys do it, it's creepy, but somehow when gals do it, it's not creepy or something. I don't get it. Help me out here. Story 69. Persistent contact. After you have specifically made it clear that 1, you have a boyfriend, 2, do not feel comfortable hanging around them alone, 3, you only want to be texted by said person if they need help with classwork. And here I am constantly looking over my shoulder to see if this person is near me because he really makes me uncomfortable. Like I should not be doing this in a university with 31,000 students. Story 70. Honestly, not being hot. Hot guys can get away with nearly all creepy and girls will find it cute. Not attractive guys can do literally normal and girls will find it creepy as. Straight up ugly guys will just glance at a girl and she will automatically think he is a serial killer and she is going to die. Story 71. Guy, hey, wanna meet up? Me, no, I'm not feeling comfortable meeting up with people anytime soon. Guy, okay, proceeds to continue talking about us meeting up. Me, hey, you're making me really uncomfortable, please stop talking to me. Guy, what did I do? Give me a chance to make it right.
Story 72. E-manners.
Today at work, a very large middle-aged man thought it'd be funny to block my path and loudly whisper to his wife, should I grab her? I gave him an annoyed look and dodged him because I was weirded out and carrying blood samples. Then he loudly declares, humph, guess she doesn't have a sense of humor. No, you creepy, I'm a woman and a professional who doesn't want to be trapped or grabbed. I hate the creepy old man jokes that they think are cute or harmless. Story 73. This'll be buried but pulling me too close when hugging or dancing. Creepy bonus to the guys who pulled tighter the harder I tried to pull away. Special creep prize to the nasty old coworker who came up behind me and softly and intimately meowed into my ear. Story 74. When they try too hard are too involved. I don't mean being polite, or buying someone a drink, but constantly saying I love you, bringing flowers every other day, texting good morning every morning, It's cute the first time, but then it's just weird, maybe it's just me. Story 75. Excessive innocent touching like hands on the arm, guiding through a crowd, repeated intense staring, making excessive, constant compliments about my appearance, ESP, if we're just barely acquaintances, waiting in the wings, swooping in the second I'm single and the body isn't cold yet. Also awkward when I've clearly stated I'm not interested many times before, married guys waiting for their wife or GF hitting on me like at a cafe when I'm trying to work, ignoring the fact that I'm busy while working in public, and insisting on leaning over me into my personal space to talk with me. I wear a giant fake engagement ring and sometimes it works. Crossing the line when I was a teenager, a pharmacist used my personal info to call my home and ask me on a date. My mom got him fired. Recently while visiting my mom, creepy cashier at another grocery store asked my mom if I had a boyfriend and made inappropriate comments about my appearance. She's on the verge of getting him fired too. Story 76. I'm 61, so stuff like this is a distant memory to me, but the most creepy approach I ever received was when I was 14. I was walking home from school for lunch when a man stopped his car and leaped out to cross the road to tell me what great legs I had. I was tall and very advanced physically for my age and wearing a coat which covered my uniform, but when he asked me out and I declined telling him I was 14, that didn't deter him although he was in his 30s. I kept on walking past my house because I didn't want him to see where I lived. Story 77. If I ever dare mention this to a straight guy for any reason, he will either ask if I want to have a threesome with him and his girlfriend or comment how my boyfriend must be so lucky that he can have threesomes with me. Once I was talking to a man and the topic came up, and he lamented how lucky I am to be bi because his girl just won't let him bring another girl home. She's so uncomfortable about the idea of sleeping with another girl for him. So I asked him, well, why don't you sleep with another guy for her, then maybe she'll be okay with another girl. He argued, but that's different, girls can sleep with other girls, that's so hot, guys doing it with other guys is so gross. Don't get me wrong, I would at some point in my life like to have a threesome, but I hate that that is the first thing that guys go to. They ask me and they never actually have their girlfriend present or ask her first. I'd be way more comfortable if the girl asked instead of the guy.